sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. I don't wanna be the lover in your arms. I don't wanna be the one to keep you from home. I don't wanna be the crooked person in your heart. I don't wanna start, but I don't wanna start. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. I don't wanna waste no more of your precious time. I don't wanna say that everything will be fine. I don't wanna feel your tears on my skin. I'm a coward, baby, don't let me in. Part-time lover, how we suffer now. So I don't wanna sit in again with you, baby, tonight. I don't wanna love, I don't wanna fight. I don't wanna have to tell you all the things I know. I don't wanna stay, but I don't wanna go. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of war. There is no sickness, toil nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my mother. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going child for me. Where weary eyes no more will weep. I'm going there to see my father. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm going there to see my brother. He said he'd meet me when I come. Hush, little love, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say. And if that mockingbird don't sing, I'm gonna buy you a diamond ring. Yes, and I know that diamond ring. Yes, I know that diamond ring is gonna shine. Darling, if you'll marry me, I'll buy you a house with a big oak tree. Say, darling, say, we'll live in the house with the big oak tree. 3 little babies on your knee.
Good day, this is Damage United. Pretty tired from last night. Yesterday was the 4th of July, but that's not why I was tired. I was tired because I stayed up late doing I had this idea for extending the wireless network to the garage, and the garage is separate from the house and kind of far away, so that was what I was doing. And I have a bunch of equipment, like sometimes I go to estate sales and stuff, and so I have like kind of junk gear, but I got it for I got a router, an extender, and a ton of Ethernet cables. They're not Cat 6, but they work. And I got that for like $3. And then I found this thrift store, and it's like every second of the month, every second Thursday of the month, they have every second Thursday of the month they have a half off sale, so that's usually when I go. So at the thrift store they do have good extenders. Not extenders, routers, Wi-Fi routers. And so I'll get them, and it will be like $4. And then half off, it's $2. That's where I get my equipment from. So I had a few extra. With my Linux boxes, I need, I connect them with Ethernet, but there's 6 of them. And then there's the Xbox and the PC and my laptop, and those all connect with Ethernet. So I just daisy chain the Wi-Fi routers. I turn off the routers and I just use the switch part. I turned one of the Wi-Fi routers on, and now that's broadcasting to an extender in the house, but that extender is pointing straight to the garage. And then there's another extender in the garage that receives the signal and amplifies it. So it's kind of weird because it's the Wi-Fi router to an extender to another extender, but it works. Whenever you have an extender, the speed goes down because it has to think about the signal that it's sending, because it takes the signal from the router, amplifies it, then sends it to you. So of course there's going to be a slowdown because it has to reprocess everything. So with the LAN, the Ethernet connection, the wired connection, I get about 95 megabits download and 30 megabits upload. But in the garage now I get 5 megabits download and 8 megabits upload, and that's because it's hopping through 2 extenders, and yeah, they're not just, if they were brand new, state-of-the-art extenders, I'm sure it would be faster. But they're not. They're used gear. Some of it's from like 2006. But it works. And I just have that so I can stream music or something in the garage. It seems like a lot of this footage I forgot the camera was on, which is kind of the downside of shooting with the GoPro because, well, I turn the sound off sometimes, but leave the lights on, or I'll turn off the lights. The GoPros have these flashing lights, it flashes red just like you would think a camera does, but you can turn it off, and then it has this sound, this really loud, kind of obnoxious beep that it does when you record, and you can turn it off. So I just do that, and a lot of times the reason why I turn the lights off is because if you're filming and there's a reflection, maybe there's a chance maybe the reflection doesn't see me hold it in the camera, or you don't notice that I'm in the reflection holding the camera. But if there's a blinking red light, then you're definitely gonna notice the reflection and me holding the camera. So that's one of the reasons I turned the light off. The other is because it actually uses battery power, and when I'm doing the time-lapse photography, there's no point to having the red light on. But it does make it harder to know when the camera's recording and when it's not, especially when the camera is in the 3D housing. The GoPro, a while ago, they released a version of the GoPro, a kit that you could get. So you need 2 GoPros, and then it has an adapter, and it's actually really cool. And so it tethers the GoPro together, and then there's this case that holds them, and so that's how the GoPro records in 3D. And what's nice is that it's 2 separate cameras, so the GoPro gets a minimum of 25 megabits video, and that's the video bit rate, and so that's pretty high. Blu-ray's 30, and before you think, oh, that's Blu-ray quality camera, once you edit the footage and do the color grade and everything and compress the image, it goes down to like 15 megabits per second. When you're shooting with the cinema cameras or even a DSLR, they'll shoot at 40 megabits, and that's a low-end DSLR. Like a cinema camera, they'll record at 200 megabits per second, and so a lot of the cinema cameras actually can record to a solid-state drive, and so you need like 256 gigabytes, 512, and that's like literally only 40 minutes of footage. So, like, can you imagine? You save half a terabyte of footage, and that's only 40 minutes. That's kind of why I like the prosumer cameras, because yeah, they record higher quality than your cell phone, but the data size to the amount of footage you get is still relatively low. So like for this, so I'm walking around in Stanford for this, and there's 30 minutes of footage here, and then after we were walking around, I recorded the video with the camera mounted to the car for an hour or 2, and then with all that, so 2 hour recording, a 30-minute walk around recording, that filled up. It didn't fill up the entire SD card. The issue is that I run out of battery before the card fills up, but it goes to like 20 gigs, and because it's 3D, you got to record the left camera and the right camera, and that's 2 separate memory cards. So if one camera fills up and it's 20 gigs, then the other camera is very close to 20 gigs. And that means that in total, for the footage, you have an effective 40 gigs of data. And so while the advantage of the GoPro system is that you have two physical separate cameras that record independent of each other, there's a synchronization cable, which is cool. Because what it does is it tells the second GoPro, okay, it actually lines up the frames. So it says, okay, this is frame 1, record frame 2. So they're synchronized by frame, but also the exposure is synchronized, the white balance is synchronized. So it's very nice. Unfortunately, sometimes it fails, and it doesn't fail often, but it can fail, where it will record one clip but not the other. It accidentally won't start the other camera, and that's a headache, because you have to because if it misaligns one, then the left camera file will be like 3D left 002, and then it missed one for the right, and so then when you record the next one, it will be left 003, right 002, and so it messes up the file naming, which is fine. It takes a while to go through the footage, and you just have to rename the right, in this case, the right file to 003, and then that's fine. That's all you have to do. But if it messes up on like the first video and you take 30 videos, then that's a lot. You have to rename, but it's worth it. This is in Northern California. I'm recording this in Stanford University. We were doing a trip with my sister, and we were driving all up and down California looking at the colleges for her. And it's funny because she actually ended up going to the complete opposite side of the country and going to school in New York. So I was saying, the reason why I started late, I was up late last night trying to get the extenders to work. There's one where there's a bug in the firmware, and once it starts up, it has to start up, and then once it's active, you have about 5 seconds to log in and change the settings. And if you don't change the settings to the right thing, which is, get the extender to connect to the network, then it crashes. I kid you not, the whole thing crashes. So you have to keep doing that until you get logged in, set it. You have to log in within the 5 seconds of it booting up, and then set the settings. So once you log in, you're fine. But it is a pain in the butt. And it's a new extender, so you can't, with my old extender, you can download the firmware and upload it to it. With this new one, you can't do that. It has to connect to the internet first on its own, and then you can tell it to download the firmware, but you can't manually do it, which is the problem because I couldn't get it to extend to the network. And so I was up till 3:30 in the morning trying to fix it. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna use the old extender. So I switched back to that and I got it to work in about 5 minutes. And so I set it up, and then I set the garage up, and then by the time I got back in the house, it was 4, and I was like, I have to get to bed, because my body, like, I'm a low-key insomniac, or I've discovered the secrets of insomnia, and the secret to insomnia, like, I've had really bad insomnia, where it's like, I don't sleep more than an hour. Well, no, that's not true. I don't sleep more than like maybe 7 hours a week. And it takes a lot to fall asleep, but the issue is staying asleep. But now it's a lot more mild. So the secret to mild insomnia is, one, you kind of learn that if you stay up to a certain point, you're not going to fall asleep, even if you're really tired and get back to bed. So if I stay up till 4 a.m., I'm toast. I just can't fall asleep. Even though I was exhausted. So what I do now is I have a sleep schedule. I try to get in bed. No, I try to get to my room at 12. I like to get there at 11:30. Then I watch a couple of YouTube videos or I listen to music, and then I am hopping in bed at 1:30 in the morning, and that worked out really well. And a lot of the reasons why that worked out really well is because I switched my stream schedule to the morning. So I do the morning, then I work on everything else during the day. And so I do have this period where I have the opportunity to wind down, so everything starts slowing down. And so that is much nicer. And I'm getting so much done throughout the day. Again, I think this is... I was gonna say this is footage where I don't think I'm recording, but it looks like it just took a long time to set up. Now, you know what this is? This is meant to be time-lapse. So we're gonna set that up now. control. Do, 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 do. It is so hot today, and it's humid. It's supposed to get up to 96, which isn't bad. Like when I live in California, I can take 103, 104. But Southern California is a desert, so it might be 101 or 102, but it's dry heat. Or I'll even wear a hoodie, I don't care. But in Michigan, like Michigan is 90% lakes. And so it gets beyond humid. And then there's this saying in Michigan where if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes because it'll be sunny, and then all of a sudden you look back at the sky and it's like there are clouds overhead, and that's the worst because when there are a lot of clouds, the humidity gets worse, so it's still just as hot. You would think it wouldn't be as hot because there's the shade from the clouds, but it is. And then sometimes it will, start thunderstorming, but the thunderstorming doesn't cool down anything, it just adds to the humidity. And so 90-degree weather with humidity feels beyond hot. And then, because we have so many lakes here in Michigan, we have a lot of mosquitoes. So it's humid, Mosquitoes are trying to eat you alive in some areas. And oh my goodness. And then I work outside as a gardener. That's what pays the bills. And yeah, I mean, I have a system for working outside. I just got this new chainsaw, which I'm gonna be trying out tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed it works well. We're almost done. I think there's 30 minutes of footage, and we're at 22 minutes. This was a bigger kind of project compared to the other ones. And then we just have to color grade it. Color grading is gonna be easy. think this is. Another time lapse is coming up. I think I vaguely remember setting up a couple. Let's see. There we go. So I'm gonna take a short break. I already have my coffee made, so it'll be really short. Unless somebody stops to talk to me, which is fine. It'll still be quick. So that 30 minutes of footage went down to 15 minutes. Okay, I'll be right back.
Greeting and salutations. I am Lloyd, a producer at LCD Productions, and I have come to share this new series of visual audiobooks with you, the listener, the supporter, the viewer. Together we will go on a journey like never before, fly to new heights with Project Aerospace, explore new land and cityscapes with Photations, even change the dimension of time through the power of time-lapse photography from live to tape. We'll even travel beyond the mind's eye into worlds captured and generated through animation from Thumbers United Daily Animation Series. As we together go on these journeys filled with photography and theater of the mind, I hope you remember the core belief that we hold, that anyone can become the master of art, meaning that it is not some born skill what makes someone good at being creative. It is a desire to practice and spend time being creative that creates the master. I hope that these films, photography, and stories inspire you to set some time aside and practice some creativity. I believe if we all spend more time creating and being constructive, the world would be a better place, a more friendlier and fulfilling place. Thank you for coming. Let's begin this journey. Thank you for experiencing this journey we have created here at LCD Productions. For more information on how to support these films and projects, visit photations.com/support. Fine art photography prints from journeys around the world can be purchased from photationsstore.com, and digital downloads of our photography and visual audiobooks is available for personal use. Commercial use is available at a different rate. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you here again.
Okay, I'm back. The color grades will be simple. Color balance, curves, and white balance. I don't plan on editing the white balance so much. I'm trying to make it low contrast, which is what I did. And so it does go to black, but it's a softer, hazier black. It's kind of how you get it to look like a film. So we're done. You're done with this one. I will be setting up the next one. You guys can see what happens. I'm editing it at 25% resolution. Oh, that looks better. This is actually placeholder media. And so the video files I'm editing are actually standard def. But I wrote this application, and I upload this file to my Linux box, and then it will replace all the footage with high definition in this case, or it will, if it's 4K footage, it replaces it with the original quality footage. And then the advantage is that I can do 3D rendering, where it will swap out the left footage and then it will start another render with the right camera footage at full resolution. So it actually renders it to two identical edits, but one with left camera footage and one with right camera footage. And yeah, that's pretty nice, because the applications that used to support 3D and don't really anymore, they would only let you export in side by side, and that wasn't full resolution 3D. Then I just checked 2 projects, and we're not going to edit them live. And the next one I'm looking at is pretty big, so we'll probably edit it all the way through. It might be the last one. I don't know. But it is still life. It's with nature. It's at Huntington Library in Los Angeles. It's currently importing the footage. So this is a larger project. It's 20 minutes of footage. So that should take us at least 40 minutes to edit. I'll make it larger so all y'all can see. a lot of this footage is it's from when I was taking care of my grandmother. She, well, I'll tell you guys the story later. Probably around September. But I went there and I was kind of like a living, no, not kind of. I was a live-in nurse. And so I would, I give her medications and cook and clean and stuff. But then we would have, essentially the exercise time. And so we would go to the mall, we'd go to the park. She loved gardening. So we'd go to different gardens and stuff. And we would bring the wheelchair. But she would walk most of it. And then when she got tired, I would, push her in the wheelchair. And so a lot of this footage is from when we, go to the parks together. So I did that full time from 2013 to 2014. But by myself. And I was still doing online classes for college. And then in 2015, she came back with us to Michigan, and then my mom and I took care of her together. And we did kind of the same thing we did over in California, where we would go to all the parks and spend time outside and go to concerts like classical music. And she really loved operas. And so what was nice was, even though we don't get a lot of operas in Michigan, we do get the Phantom events. And those are events that are Broadway productions or Metropolitan Opera in New York, where they record the performances live, or it is an actual live stream, and then they, the schedule is actually funny. The schedule is, it's like it's recorded. The opera occurs on Sunday, and that one's broadcasted live. But then on Wednesday, they rebroadcast the recording. And so my grandmother and I would go to the movies, and it was nice. I mean, I like music and the operas and theater, so it was nice to watch. Kind of depressing, because the majority of them are tragedies. But they're like 5 hours long, I kid you not, where they'll have maybe 2 15-minute intermissions. And then the nice thing was that, like, when you get the large drink, you get free refills. So if you're seeing a normal movie that's 2 hours or 2.5 hours, you don't really need to get out to get another drink. But when you're doing the operas, you'll watch for like an hour and a half, and then they have a 15-minute intermission. It's like, okay, I am going to take advantage of the situation and get even more soda. I don't drink soda anymore, but at the time it was worth it. I tried to avoid sugar. When I eat too much sugar, I don't get hyper or anything, but I do get like this pressure in the brain, and it does trigger my my anxiety a little bit. It's just I don't need it. And so I drink just straight up coffee now. Because before it was soda, it was like, oh, I'm not... I mean, like, it has caffeine. I know it has caffeine. But it's like, when you're drinking coffee, it's like, I'm doing this to stay up. I'm doing this to wake up. But when it's, a sugary beverage, it's just like, oh, I'm just drinking this for the taste, for the sugar. I'm not really drinking this for the caffeine. And so I kind of stopped that mentality, because I was like, I am drinking this soda to stay awake. I am drinking it to get through the day. So I might as well, just cut out the coffee. I mean, not the coffee, cut out the soda and just drink an extra cup of coffee, because there's kind of a stigma in my family where it's like, oh, you're drinking too much coffee. Like my grandmother, she said, she would drink as much coffee as she wanted, but it had to be before 12 p.m., before noon, or else she would stay up too late. And so my family would kind of be like, oh, you're gonna do an all-nighter because you're drinking coffee after 12. And so then, I'd switch to soda. You think, oh, that's not so bad. It's less caffeine. But it's the sugar that really ended up kind of messing me up, and I didn't like that experience. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit kidding around. I'm drinking it to get more alert. So I'm just gonna switch back to extra coffee. And this was recorded in high noon. So the shadows are really dark, because it's really bright, direct sunlight. My plan after this is I'm gonna go to the garage. I have a workbench that I'm planning to build. I have to clean up some of my tools. And then I was trying with the extender. I was trying to, find all these places to put it. But I had the ladder, and I'm running extension cords through the ceiling and ended up not needing them. So I'm gonna go and take all that down. And what's nice is I got my stereo to work with my phone or anything with a headphone jack. I kid you not, I have a stereo from 2002. And of course that's before iPods and everything. So it's a 5-disc changer. The disc changer doesn't work anymore. It has AM, FM, It's pretty big speakers. But it has a tape, you know, the main feature of this stereo was that it has a tape recorder, and then you can have it where it does overdub. So if you're copying a tape, it will copy the tape, but it would do it at twice the speed. So that was like the big deal. Oh man, if you wanted to copy an hour tape, it would only take 30 minutes. And so I went to the thrift store and I found it's kind of like a dummy cassette, where it's a fake cassette that you put in the stereo, in the cassette player, and it has a headphone jack that comes out, and so you can plug in your phone and it will actually play audio from the cassette into the stereo, and then the stereo will play the music. And what's nice about this, and you might be thinking, oh, that's stupid, why do you need that? Well, the reason why you want that is if you have an old car, before you would actually have to replace the stereo to put in either a CD player or auxiliary jack for your phone or something. But with the cassette player, almost all cars, really old cars, have a cassette player. And so with the dummy cassette, the cassette adapter, you just put the cassette in, and then you can connect your phone and play whatever music. The downside is that I believe the audio is in mono, and there's a little bit of fuzz, but it works. So after this, I'm gonna go get some podcasts, and just start working on the garage. Last night it was terrible because I was working in the garage and there was a couple of really annoying flies buzzing around me, and there was a mosquito. And I say, you have to go. We're speeding up. I say that and then I instantly go slower. And it looks like this is gonna be a short stream. We've done so much in so little time. But I kind of ran out of things to talk about. I will remind everyone that we are doing all of the Halos on all the difficulties. That starts again tomorrow, starting at 11 a.m. We are currently doing Halo CE, the Anniversary Edition, Halo 1, that we are currently playing on easy. We should finish it Monday, actually. Well, no, let's say Tuesday. I don't think we'll finish it Monday, because we have the control room to do. When we come back to the control room, and there's the flood and everything, and we have to do the control room in reverse. And then we have the keys level, which, spoiler alert, doesn't end up well for keys. And then we have the Pillar of Autumn. So we have 3 levels, really. So we might finish it, we might not. It is easy, so the levels go on pretty quickly. But then after we finish it on easy, we will start off at the beginning of Halo and do it on normal. And that will take probably the rest of the week. And then we will do it on heroic and then legendary. And once we finish it on legendary, we will start Halo 2. And we do the same thing over again, where we'll go through on easy, and then normal, then heroic, then legendary. We did that in Reach. We finished Reach on all the difficulties. And that was an experience. But I kinda have a feeling that Reach was the most difficult legendary version. It's funny because the other day, you think I would be tired of Reach after doing all that, but I actually loaded up Reach on easy, but I turned on like five or six scoring skulls. And what a skull is in Halo is that it will change the variables in the game to either make it harder to play. Sometimes they make it easier to play. Other times it does nothing for the gameplay, but it makes it, kind of funnier to play. Like a lot of times I play with Grunt Birthday, so if you shoot the grunt into the head, which sounds gruesome, then confetti explodes out, and there's the kids screaming yay. And so I leave that on for everything. And then there's another one I always leave on, and it changes the dialogue. And so when you're playing Halo, the Marines and everyone, they talk, but they kind of say, they have the default things that they say. And so sometimes there are rare things that they will say. And what this skull does is it flips the settings. So the things they normally say, they rarely say it. And then the things that they rarely say, they say often. And so there's like more jokes and everything, and they complain more, all kinds of stuff. And so that's gone, and that doesn't change the difficulty at all. But in Reach, I'm I was playing it on easy because I wanted to see. I mean, I've done it before, but with Firefight. But I wanted to see what it would be like to play with all these skulls on. So I played with a skull that turns up the. It gives the enemies more health, and then another one that makes them better at dodging and, you know, running out of the way of grenades and everything. And then I had another one where they throw grenades, and the thing that I like about them throwing more grenades, which they throw a ton of grenades in Heroic and Legendary, but on easy they don't. But with this skull, they're throwing grenades all the time. But the good thing is, because they're throwing more grenades, they have more grenades. So if you eliminate them, then you get, you know, their grenades. So you almost always have extra grenades all the time. So it's kind of a double-edged thing. But then I also have it so the game will, you know, increase the rank of the enemy. So they're not only are they more difficult to kill, but they're the stronger enemy, and, you know, the faster and more aggressive enemy. So I had all those skulls on. Oh, and then I had accelerated explosions. So I had all those on, and it was on easy, and it was hilarious. Because yes, you have more health, but so do they. Because it's on easy, there's no skull that gives you more health. And so, I mean, you're non-stop shooting at the elites, and they just won't die. And so I would have to resort to my trick, where I would, you know, get a plasma pistol and overcharge it and shoot them, and it wouldn't bring down their shields. On Legendary, it would bring down their shields, but with all these skulls on, it was like they all had overshields, because the shield pops, but then when you're shooting at them, the shield still shows up. So you'd have to do, I kid you not, you would have to do 3 overcharges of the pistol, the plasma pistol, to bring the shields down, and then you could hit them to eliminate them. And so it was comical because I'm surviving, they're surviving, and it's just like, it got to the point where I was just running out of ammo all the time, and they're just like, oh, we're trying to, you know, get you just as much as you're trying to get us. So after we finish the series of Halos, all the Halos, all the difficulties, I kind of want to do another series of Halo, where it's Halo with too many skulls. I don't know what we're gonna call that series. Maybe the Skull of Halo, something like that. So we're getting pretty close to being done. There's 22 minutes of footage, and we're at this 17-minute mark. So we just have to color grade this. This one will be a little bit more difficult to color grade because there's so much shadow, and the shadow is really dark. And so we won't be able to recover that much visual data from the shadows, even when we changed the coloring, changed the effect. And then after that, I will start a rerun of produced content, and what that means is it's content that was edited and rendered. A lot of the time, it's actually projects that I edited live, and you get to see the final result. But sometimes it's series that I've been sitting on and kind of editing in secret. So we will be releasing that. Well, starting that rerun. And so we have the aerial photography, which is the part that I consider experimental photography. So we have the photographs for aerial photography, and then we have the lighter than some videos. And so now it will play, and then I believe there's a break where there's some narrative content, a visual audio book. I believe it's Life to Tape Story Time and Project Park from Quotations, and then it goes to back to Project Aerospace, but with the flight of Albie. And Albie the Albatross is a remote control fixed wing drone, and what that means is it's a remote control airplane with a camera array, and it flies around. So there's a camera on the left side, on the right side, on the front, and I'm actually making modifications, because before I had to choose where if I was going to use the camera array or if I was going to use the 360 cam, and so I rebuilt Albie to be able to hold everything. The problem is I'm not able to throw him fast enough to get it in the air. Once it's in the air, it's fine, but that part's difficult. And so I'm actually gonna build a bungee cord system to launch, the slingshot Albie into the sky. The problem is, with fixed wing, with airplanes, you have to get them a certain speed for them to take off. And so the heavier the aircraft, the faster you have to be going to get that aircraft in the sky. So with the bungee system, it launches, faster into the sky, but it also will consistently launch it at the same angle, which when you're hand throwing the airplane, you have to, throw it at the exact right angle. But if you mess up, then, it comes back down to earth. You can't throw it straight up, because then, gravity comes and pulls it straight back down to the ground. Because it stalls, you kind of have to throw it straight ahead, but at a slight degree out. Sometimes I add the white balance, but we might not get to it. And so what the curves do is allows me to change the contrast of the image, but not a uniform contrast. What it will do is I can say, okay, make the areas that are bright, overexposed. I can say make them more brighter, more higher contrast. And then I can take the darks and I can say, okay, make the darks really high contrast, make them extra dark. And I can do the opposite, where I can say, make the darks add more brightness to them, make them less contrast. And then I can actually say, make the bright areas of the image darker and all that stuff. Okay, we're done. I want to thank everyone for coming for this creative weekend, working on the California project. We did a lot, even though we only did 2 projects. They were big sections, so that was good. And then tomorrow, Monday through Friday, we are doing our video game Let's Plays of all the Halos, all the difficulties. I want to remind everyone again that we're playing Halo 1 and we're finishing the easy difficulty and we'll be going to normal after that. So I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I'll see everyone tomorrow for video games. Bye bye.